Hello everybody, this is Beast with Wise One Gaming, fresh off of vacation. It was a fun time, but let's get you guys caught up on the Division 2 news. If this is your first time here, make sure to fly to that sub button and claw the bell to be notified when I have a fresh upload. Also, help this nest grow by liking this video and sharing with your peers, neighbors, even your grandma if she's a recycled teenager that loves gaming. And with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. So if you play Division 1, you're already familiar with Gearsets. Well, in Division 2, they're also bringing what's called Brandsets to the mix. These Brandsets will offer their own set bonuses, much like Gearsets, but they will of course be branded gear. If you remember, they have mechanics brand gloves in the first game, so that may have been the predecessor to this. But Gearsets will also be returning, so there's no worries there. It's not like Brandsets are replacing them, but Brandsets will affect the way you build Gearsets in the Division. We won't know too much until we learn more information about what Brandsets can actually do in regarding to the whole thing. They only showed us a little bit in E3, but there will apparently be branded Gearsets as well. And when you wear multiple pieces of these of the same brand, you get bonuses that cater towards the playstyle that the specific brand is focusing on. A brand set is a combination of 3 items of the same brand, but when you just equip one item, you already get the bonus. Since brands focus more on how you want to play and what stats you want to focus on, they don't really impact min-maxing. And based on that, there are many more combinations and options available. You can go with a 3-3 brand set combination, but you can also put 6 different brands on your character if that makes more sense to you. And these stats have been taken from the E3 demo and are of course subject to change because we got until March of 2019 before this comes out. So starting with the first brand, we got Overlord Armaments with 7.5% armor percent bonus. Okay, plus 5% weapon damage and plus 10% defense to or damage to elites. I'm sorry. Then we have China Light Industry Corporation that has plus 8% shock and damage, plus 10% all resistance, which is already looking good to me because I believe in the first game currently the highest roll you can get with all resistance is only 4%, so that's awesome. And then we have plus 10% skill haste. Richter and Kaiser offers plus 20% pistol damage, plus 15% shield skill power, and then plus 10% all resistance. Eraldi Holdings, and I apologize if I mispronounce all these, we have plus 5% MMR, which is marksman rifle. We have plus 10% headshot damage, plus 10% accuracy. So I'm liking that most of these bonuses are actually 10%, not something menial like 3%. Excuse me, 3%, 4%, you know, something like that. So 10, this is actually pretty good. Then we have Wyvernware, which seems cool. It's a cool name there. We have plus 7% critical hit damage, plus 5% headshot damage, and plus 10% critical hit chance. Yeah, I think if they keep this, I think Wyvernware is going to be the one I go to. I love those because that's what I build for right now and currently on the Division. Then we have Sokolov Concern. We have plus 10% SMG damage, plus 8% critical hit damage, plus 10% critical hit chance. That's also a good ones. I think these two mentioned here will be the best ones in my opinion. But we don't know. We'll just have to see. Remember, these things can change. Then we have the Patrol Defense Group, which is plus 8% LMG, plus 10% turret skill power, and then plus 10% skill haste. That's going to be like a skill build here, mixed with kind of like a Lone Star. So they're giving a lot of options here. I'm liking this. All right, then we have the Providence Defense that has plus 4% weapon damage, plus 10% skill power. And then the Providence Talent, which says well-rounded. It's a critical hit bonus, critical hit chance, bonus for 6 seconds when completing a cover-to-cover move. Okay, so it's kind of like they're taking from Nimble and going with more damage instead of healing. That's pretty good. I'm liking these. Alright, next up we have talents. As in Division 1, we have weapon talents and gear talents. And depending on what you put it on, it can then buff either your gear or your weapon respectively. There are different categories of talents. Actually, you have common. These are simple buffs like, for example, a 15% headshot damage. And then there's advanced. They're actually, you know, more advanced. They have like, for example, you need to have certain conditions like having 70k armor or having 6,000 firearms, etc., to activate these talents. That's more like more so on weapon talents. Gear talents really didn't have a prerequisite, I guess is the word I'm looking for that. But it's usually the weapon talents, if you guys remember that. All right, so let's taking a look at the list here. We have quite a bit of gear talents that are offered at E3, and just remember that, guys, these are subject to change. So they may, you know, maybe broken right now. They may fix that. It depends on how it is, especially once the beta comes out, which I can't wait to play. But moving on. All right, so we have Devastating, which is plus 5% weapon damage. Insulated, which is plus 25% hazard protection. Rapid, which is 10% skill cooldown reduction. Then we have Surgical, which is plus 8% critical hit chance. Vital, which is plus 20% health. Hardened, which is plus 10% armor. Critical, which is plus 8% critical hit damage. Empowered, which is plus 10% skill power. Striking, which is plus 15% damage to elites. Steady Nerves, which states that destroying armor or weak points grants 50% weapon stability for 4 seconds. Requires no full auto weapons equipped. So, okay, so they are actually... This might be a gear mod or something here. Oh yeah, well, we're talking about gear talents. Oh, sometimes I just talk before I think. All right, then we have Precise, plus 15% headshot damage, and then finally we have Hit and Run, which melee kills grant a speed bonus for 2 seconds. I wish it was more than 2 seconds, because the speed bonus for 2 seconds for speed boost isn't that awesome. And it requires less than 70,000 armor. So you have to be weak to have it. I don't think Hit and Run is going to be too impressive, because depending on what you have, like what difficulty you have it on, hit and melee kills are hard to get. Anyway, moving on to weapon talents. Weapon talents work in the same way. They're common in advanced talents, but the weapon talents are now also visualized. When you have a weapon talent on your gun, you get an augmented reality icon. Next to it, it helps you track the talent to see when it's active. So that's very helpful. So that definitely quality of life changes like this is what the game needs. And I think it's going to set itself apart now from something like Destiny, where back when Division 1 first came out, it was supposed to be the Destiny killer, but then it didn't turn out to be the Destiny killer, because nobody can kill Destiny more than Bungie. Oh, got him. All right, moving on. So here's a few examples of the weapon talents we have from E3. And we have Pyromaniac, which is damage done to elites, or excuse me, damage done to targets on fire is increased by 15%. It requires you to have over 10% weapon damage. Loaded for bear, or lock and load is what it says here. Reloading from empty increases weapon damage by 20% for 5 seconds. That's pretty good. Close and personal, kills while close, double next shot damage, so that'll be good to have with a shotgun. Hemorrhage, killing a bleeding target, increases critical hit chance by 25% for all group members for 10 seconds. That one's pretty good. Unrelenting, hitting enemies increase critical hit chance by 5%. This bonus stacks up to 10 times. That's pretty good. Missing a target removes all stacks. Ooh, ouch. It has requirements, but they're not shown, so we don't know if if this was an error, or if this is something the devs didn't want to put in the game to like ruin something as a potential spoiler. Maybe it goes with a gear set, because this kind of reminds you of Striker, doesn't it, guys? All right, so we have kill confirmed. Headshots kills grant plus 10% damage, stacks up to 10 times. Okay, so we get, seems like we're getting some stackings, some stacks in here. It's starting to feel like a MOBA more than a looter shooter. All non-headshots reset the bonus. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. Okay, so this will be like for a sniper rifle, I'm thinking. Requires you to have plus or over plus 140% headshot damage. And yeah, I think this is built for a sniper. Then we have Sadist, where it says damage done to bleeding targets is increased by 15%, and it requires you to have 15% critical hit chance. Okay, so this is like critical hit chance. If they still follow the same formula for guns, for the next game, this may be like an SMG perk. It sounds pretty good. I don't know how bleeding is going to work, if they're going to recycle gear sets. I don't know if Predator's going to make a return or not. I wouldn't think they will bring gear sets like they were, just because they want to give you something fresh. But we'll see. We'll see. I think bleeding, doing status effects is going to be pretty cool, to see what they do with that. And then lastly, we have Cauterize. Damage done to targets on fire for 5... Damage done to targets on fire for 5% of damage done. Wait, what? Damage done to targets on fire for 5% of damage done. I think this is a typo or something. I think what it means to say when you damage a target that's on fire, it deals 5% more damage. I'm not too sure what that means there. I'll have it on the screen for you guys. You guys can probably help me out with that. But that's all we have for today. I just wanted to go over the weapon talents, the brands. I think brands are going to be an awesome thing, and I think that is great. The brand sets will offer you a perk or a talent on the set itself for just having one, so it gives you a lot more options. And from what I've seen, they've only showed, even though they did show a couple of high end, or actually showed one from the demo of the high end brand set. It was called Fortitude, I believe. I'll put a picture up on the video. But for mostly, I think it's just brand sets were there to just help the player, like, warm them up towards the gear set. So we'll see. Again, we're just going with the information we have now. Now that E3 is over, everyone like myself, we're just picking at every little thing and seeing what we can find. Try to find all the juiciness here. But hopefully, I'm thinking that they will release the beta probably September or October, somewhere around then. I would hope for it to be sooner, but that's just my guess on when they release it. But thank you guys for stopping in. Thank you for watching the video. Again, my name is Beast, and I'll see you in the next one.